In this video, I'm gonna show you how I remade the drums for Sabrina Carpenter's Bad Chem. If you want to have these drum samples as well, you can find a link in the description below to sign up for the early access list for Billboard drums. You will get these drums as well as the drums from Please 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 as a little taster pack, and you will also be getting early access to the pack and a little discount that I won't be offering publicly. So make sure you sign up for the list and let's jump right into the drums here. Now, when I first heard the song, I absolutely fell in love with it. It has some kind of nostalgic feeling that you can't like pinpoint exactly. It's not 70s, it's not 80s, it's not 90s. It's actually based off a 90s song, but there's so many nostalgic elements in there and the drums are so tight. I just absolutely love the drums in here. Now, before we start looking at the actual sounds, there's something quite interesting here, because if we just play, so up here I have the instruments without the drums, and if we play this back, let's listen to where the song actually starts, where the one is. It's here, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm playing back the drums, you're gonna notice they're not gonna start on the one here. I have to put this down. 1. So there's no kick on the one. The kick is actually before. See, there's actually quite a strong hit right before it. So it's hits and then the one comes. Very interesting drum arrangement. Let's go over some of the sounds here. So what we got here is like this really punchy kick. This is the sample I processed over and over again to make it sound like that. There's not a lot of magic to that, other than it just hits super tight. The snare is quite interesting. So for the snare, I couldn't really find anything that's too similar for it. So I ended up synthesizing the snare, and we have one layer here, and this is completely made with Serum, and there's a ton of processing on it. But that alone would be a little bit too boring. So as always, I'm using a hybrid approach to drum layering, and I'm combining synthesized or more mechanical sounds together with live drums, and that often gives it the character and also the feel that an actual drum has. Now I'm layering this with this really short snare here from Addictive Drums, and then there's this really dirty sounding snare. This is actually from an unreleased Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys pack. Putting this all together, we get a really nice and punchy snare. It's just so satisfying listening to it. But there's something more interesting happening as well. And this is one of the biggest things in pop drum production, is you need to have variations, because you can't have your drums static all the time. So the way to do this is you create little variations on each hit. We have these very little transients here. You can see these are really short. So we have this one, we have this one, and then I have a synthesized one I made with Serum. It's basically just noise and a little process. Now we put this all together, we get this little crunch in the beginning of the snare. Now let's put the snare back in, and you're gonna hear it has this nice pre-shifted effect here. So this is without, and this is with. It's very subtle, but it makes this little nice click. And that's gonna happen on every fourth snare hit. The drum beat starts here. And then it snaps. There's actually a clap on each hit. It's just making everything sound a little bit more noisy. Very simple drum machine clap, but it just works wonders here. Now finally, we have this little clap sound. It sounds like this. That together with these nice 80 flasher claps here, which are very noisy claps that are also played in between. Like this one and then this one. These are just clap samples, but they have a gated reverb on. I'm gonna turn these effects here off, and you're gonna hear these are claps, and I'm putting OTT, a reverb, and a little gate on that. It just makes it a little bit more noisy. Same for this one here. And now, if we play all these here together, we get really nice variations between the snare hits. So we have these little percussions, this clap sound. We have the flashy claps. And now the flashers. It just creates really nice variations. And that's basically the secret behind great sounding pop drums. Now there's also some hi-hats up here, some synthesized ones, layered together with like the sample here. Now there's one wonderful sound here which I want to show you, which is these chimes here, these like high-pitched bells that are like played like that. And it creates such a nice nostalgic feeling. And there's also a crash or two crash samples like layered together. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. The chimes, I made them with operator, and it's basically playing all the individual notes here. Yeah, it's basically how it sounds like. And there's a lot of auto panning, there's a has delay, and there's a lot of delay coming from guitar rig here going into a reverb. It's actually a very simple sound if you just listen to that. But then the delays make it very magical. That's pretty much it for the whole song. Let's listen to how all of that sounds together.
I was in a sheer dress the day that we met. We were both in a rush, we talked for a sec. You friended me up so we could connect. And what are the odds? You sent me a text and now the next thing I know I'm like, man.
Now as I mentioned, I'm currently in the last phase of finishing up Billboard drums, which is hopefully coming out at the end of this month. If you want to get early access and a lower intro price, and these samples, including the one from Please Please Please, you can find a link in the description below. I've been working on this drum collection for the past 5 months and I'm really excited to get it out. It's gonna include many popular drums from the past years, recreated with the same feel and the same punch. It's a really nice collection. I'm really excited to share with you soon, so stay tuned and thanks for watching.